were an option. Now she'll learn what it feels like. In the quiet moments of life, we often come face to face with truths we'd rather avoid, the times when we feel overlooked or unappreciated. Yet these very moments hold the power to awaken us to a deeper understanding of our worth. Today I invite you to journey within and explore how we can rise above being treated as an option, reclaiming our power and strength. Through self-reflection, boundaries and growth, we learn to honor ourselves and in doing so, transform our relation. Let's discover how adversity can shape us into the best versions of ourselves. Number 1, the importance of self-worth. Self-worth is the cornerstone of a fulfilling and meaningful life. It is the recognition of your own value, an inherent belief that you are deserving of love, respect and care, not based on the approval of others, but on your own inner understanding of who you are. Without a strong sense of self-worth, we are vulnerable to accepting less than we deserve in relationships, allowing ourselves to be treated as an option rather than a priority. We find ourselves in situations where others may not fully appreciate us, yet we still cling to their approval, hoping that their acknowledgement will somehow validate our worth. The danger in this lies in the fact that when we allow our self-worth to be contingent upon others' perceptions, we risk becoming dependent on them for our happiness and sense of value. This emotional dependency can leave us feeling small, unimportant or invisible, especially when we realize that the other person does not invest in us the way we do in them. There is a story of a young girl who spent years trying to gain the love and attention of a boy who never prioritized her. She would always be there for him, offering her time and care, but he would often cancel plans or put her last on his list of priorities. Despite her deep feelings for him, she continued to give her energy, thinking that if she just gave a little more of herself, he would finally see her worth. One day, after waiting yet again for him to show up, she had an epiphany. She realized that if he truly valued her, he would have made the effort to meet her halfway. She stopped waiting for his validation and instead began to focus on herself, developing her own passions, setting boundaries, and seeking out relationships that valued her for who she was. In time, she discovered that her own worth was not tied to anyone else's attention or approval. Self-worth isn't about perfection or the constant need for external praise. It's about understanding that you are worthy of respect, love, and kindness simply because you exist. When you embrace this truth, you stop settling for being an option and begin to attract relationships that reflect your true value. Recognizing your worth means never compromising your standards for anyone, no matter how much you care for them. Number 2, the power of detachment. Detachment is a powerful tool that allows us to navigate the complexities of relationships without losing our sense of self or our emotional stability. It does not mean a lack of care or indifference, but rather a conscious choice to distance ourselves from unhealthy attachments that may cause us emotional turmoil. In relationships where we are seen as an option rather than a priority, detachment becomes essential for preserving our well-being and self-respect. The power of detachment lies in the control it offers over our emotional responses. When we detach ourselves emotionally from someone who undervalues us, we stop reacting impulsively to their actions. Instead of being driven by hurt, disappointment, or frustration, we create space to see the situation clearly. Detachment gives us the ability to observe without becoming entangled in the drama or uncertainty created by the other person. It's about recognizing that we cannot control others' actions, but we can control how we respond to them. Detachment also means not allowing another person's treatment of us to define our worth. When we hold on too tightly to someone who does not value us, we lose sight of our own value. We begin to shape our sense of self around their approval or disapproval, creating an unhealthy dependence. Detachment allows us to reclaim our power by separating our self-worth from someone else's perception of us. We stop seeing ourselves as an extension of their desires or whims, and instead, we see ourselves as individuals with our own worth, regardless of how others treat us. Detachment fosters independence. In situations where we are treated as an option, detachment enables us to step back and reassess our priorities. By not depending on someone else's attention or validation, we learn to depend on ourselves. We discover the strength to let go of unhealthy patterns and make choices based on what is truly in alignment with our values, rather than seeking external approval. Detachment also brings clarity. It allows us to take a step back from emotional entanglements and see things as they truly are. We stop engaging in the cycle of hoping for change or waiting for someone else to prioritize us. Instead, we acknowledge the reality of the situation and make decisions from a place of calm, wisdom, and self-awareness. This clarity is what empowers us to act in our best interest, not out of desperation or fear, but with purpose and self-respect. Number 3. Boundaries. Setting boundaries is a vital aspect of maintaining healthy, respectful relationships and preserving our own emotional well-being. It involves defining what is acceptable behavior, what is not, and making it clear to others how you expect to be treated. Boundaries are not just about limiting what others can do to us. They are about protecting our time, energy, and self-respect. Without clear boundaries, we risk allowing others to overstep, take advantage, or treat us as an afterthought, ultimately diminishing our self-worth and sense of peace. When we fail to set boundaries, we often find ourselves in situations where we feel overwhelmed, underappreciated, or even emotionally drained. This is because, without clear lines, others may unintentionally or intentionally impose their needs, wants, or demands on us, expecting us to prioritize them over ourselves. In relationships where we are viewed as an option, boundaries are especially important. They prevent us from becoming the fallback choice for someone who does not prioritize us, and instead they help us create space for relationships where our time, attention, and presence are genuinely valued. Setting boundaries requires self-awareness and the courage to communicate what we need in a relationship. It can sometimes be difficult, especially if we are afraid of disappointing others or creating conflict. However, the alternative, being constantly overlooked, neglected, or mistreated, often results in far greater harm. Healthy boundaries mean being clear about what you are willing to accept and what you are not, even if it means walking away from situations that do not serve you. These boundaries help others understand that you value yourself and expect the same level of respect in return. Boundaries are not just about saying no to others, but also about saying yes to ourselves. When we set boundaries, we are asserting our right to take care of our own needs, whether that means needing time for ourselves, expressing our emotions openly, or asking for respect in a relationship. Boundaries empower us to protect our mental and emotional space, which ultimately leads to stronger, more balanced relationships. They allow us to show up as our best selves, not as someone constantly drained or resentful, but as someone who values their own well-being while still showing up for others in meaningful ways. Number 4. The nature of reciprocity. Reciprocity lies at the heart of any healthy relationship. It is the mutual exchange of effort, respect, and care between individuals. When one person continuously gives while the other takes without offering anything in return, the relationship becomes imbalanced, leaving the giver feeling undervalued and drained. The concept of reciprocity is not about keeping score, but about creating a dynamic where both parties contribute and support each other in meaningful ways. When relationships are rooted in reciprocity, both individuals feel respected, valued, and cared for, creating a sense of equality and trust. In relationships where one person views the other as an option, reciprocity often falls to the wayside. This is because the individual who sees the other as secondary is not willing to invest the same level of care and attention. They may take from the relationship without offering the same in return, leading the person who is being undervalued to feel as though they are merely a convenience or a fallback. This creates an unhealthy dynamic where one person is constantly giving, while the other is only taking. Over time, this imbalance erodes the trust and respect that the relationship is built upon. True reciprocity requires both parties to make an equal effort to meet each other's needs. It involves more than just actions. It encompasses emotional availability, understanding, and a genuine willingness to contribute to the other person's well-being. When someone consistently treats you as an option, they fail to recognize the importance of this mutual exchange. They may not be as emotionally invested or as committed, leading to feelings of neglect and resentment. In any relationship, we must recognize that reciprocity is not guaranteed. It must be nurtured and cultivated. We cannot force someone to invest the same level of effort or attention, but we can set the standard for how we expect to be treated. When we are aware of the importance of reciprocity, we can make decisions that protect our emotional health, ensuring that we invest our time and energy in relationships that reflect a fair and balanced exchange. This not only strengthens our connections with others, but also reinforces our own self-worth, as we stop settling for relationships where we are treated as an option rather than a priority. Number 5, the illusion of control. The desire to control is an inherent part of human nature. We seek control over our circumstances, our surroundings, and especially our relationships. However, the truth is that control is often an illusion, particularly when it comes to the actions and feelings of others. No matter how much we try to influence someone's behavior, we cannot control how they feel, act, or treat us. This misunderstanding of control is a mistake many people make, leading them to invest excessive energy into trying to manipulate or force situations to align with their desires. In relationships where we are seen as an option, the attempt to control becomes even more prominent. We may convince ourselves that if we just act a certain way, behave differently, or give more of ourselves, the other person will eventually see our value and treat us as a priority. However, this mindset often leads to frustration, disappointment, and self-doubt, because no amount of manipulation or effort can change someone else's heart or mind if they are not ready or willing to change. In trying to control the situation, we often lose sight of the reality that we can only control ourselves, not the actions or decisions of others. The illusion of control also arises when we seek to fix the dynamics of a relationship by forcing communication, resolving problems that may not yet be ready to be solved, or taking on too much responsibility for the other person's actions. This constant need to control may stem from a fear of rejection or loss, but it only perpetuates a cycle of emotional imbalance. In fact, trying to control another person can create tension, distance, and resistance, making the situation worse instead of better. The true power lies in understanding that control over others is an illusion, and instead focusing on controlling our own reactions and responses. We cannot dictate how someone else feels or acts, but we can control how we choose to engage with them and how much energy we are willing to invest in the relationship. By recognizing this, we shift the focus away from trying to change others and redirect our energy toward nurturing our own growth and well-being. Accepting that we can't control everything, especially in relationships, helps us let go of frustration and embrace the freedom that comes with emotional detachment and self-awareness. Number 6, the role of time and attention. Time and attention are two of the most valuable resources we possess. Yet many people fail to recognize their worth. In relationships, how we invest our time and the attention we give to others speaks volumes about what we value and prioritize. Time, once spent, cannot be regained, and attention, when given freely, demonstrates care, respect, and affection. When these resources are not reciprocated, or when we are treated as an option rather than a priority, it's crucial to reassess how we're spending our emotional energy. Time is a finite resource. Each moment that passes is a moment we cannot get back, and how we choose to spend our time reflects our values and priorities. In relationships where we are treated as an afterthought, the lack of time given to us serves as a clear indication that we are not a priority. People who truly value you will make time for you, not out of obligation, but out of a genuine desire to be with you. When someone views you as an option, their actions often reflect their inability or unwillingness to dedicate time to nurture the relationship. Their time is often reserved for others or for things that hold more importance to them. This lack of time spent with you becomes a painful reminder that you are not valued as highly as you deserve. Attention, like time, is a limited resource. The amount of attention someone gives you communicates their level of emotional investment. In the modern world, attention can be easily distracted, with numerous external stimuli constantly vying for focus. Yet, the act of giving someone undivided attention is an intentional, thoughtful gesture that expresses care and importance. When someone fails to give you attention, they show that your presence isn't as significant to them as it should be. The emotional toll of not being seen or heard can wear away at your sense of self-worth, making you question whether you matter at all in their life. When we are treated as an option, we must recognize that our time and attention deserve to be reciprocated. The key is to value ourselves enough to not accept relationships where these vital resources are not honored. Investing time and attention in relationships where both parties are equally committed creates a bond that is rooted in mutual respect and care. By setting this standard, we teach others how to treat us, ensuring that our time and attention are respected in return. Number 7. Personal growth through adversity. Adversity, though often difficult and painful, is an undeniable part of life that serves as a catalyst for personal growth. The experiences of being undervalued, overlooked, or treated as an option provide us with profound opportunities to learn about ourselves and the nature of our relationships. Rather than seeing adversity as something to be avoided, we can choose to view it as a teacher that imparts lessons on resilience, self-worth, and emotional strength. When we are placed in situations where we are not prioritized, it can feel deeply hurtful. However, this is precisely when we are challenged to examine our own boundaries, self-esteem, and how much we are willing to accept from others. The pain that arises from being treated as an option is often rooted in the realization that we may have overlooked our own needs and desires in favor of others. This realization can prompt a period of self-reflection, where we reevaluate our relationships and the way we allow others to treat us. In this process, adversity forces us to confront the hard truth. We are the ones responsible for setting the standards of how we are treated. As difficult as it may be, adversity helps us develop resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks and maintain emotional strength. When we are disregarded or taken for granted, we are given the chance to build emotional fortitude. Instead of wallowing in self-pity or feeling defeated, we learn to navigate our emotions with grace and self-compassion. This emotional resilience not only strengthens us in the face of future challenges, but also empowers us to walk away from toxic or unbalanced relationships, knowing that we have the inner strength to survive and thrive on our own. Adversity encourages us to grow in independence. When someone treats us as an option, it may push us to take a step back and rediscover our own worth and identity outside of that relationship. We learn that our happiness and fulfillment are not dependent on someone else's validation. Instead, we begin to cultivate a sense of self-reliance, where our joy and self-esteem come from within, not from the approval or attention of others. Through adversity, we come to understand the value of our own time, energy, and emotional investments. Each experience, no matter how painful, adds to our growth, teaching us the importance of setting boundaries, prioritizing ourselves, and choosing relationships that align with our values. It is in these moments of hardship that we are given the opportunity to transform our pain into strength, emerging stronger, wiser, and more capable of maintaining the integrity of our own self-worth. Understanding your self-worth, setting boundaries, embracing detachment, and recognizing the importance of time and attention can radically transform how we approach relationships. Through adversity, we find the strength to grow, learn, and prioritize ourselves over the distractions of being treated as an option. As we cultivate resilience, independence, and clarity, we make room for relationships that value and respect us in return. Thank you for your time and attention. May you continue to walk with confidence, knowing your worth, setting healthy boundaries, and fostering meaningful connections. Good luck on your journey of self-discovery.